The latest news about Hank Williams Jr. is breaking the headlines, and fans everywhere are stunned by what has just come to light. For decades, Bocephus has been a living symbol of American country music. Tough, loud, unmistakably authentic, and unapologetically himself. His voice, his attitude, and his larger-than-life personality made him a legend. But behind the outlaw image and the electrifying stage presence lies a lifetime of pain, loss, and private struggles that have shaped him far more than most people ever realized. And now, as new details emerge, the world is seeing Hank Williams Jr. in a way they never have before, more vulnerable, more reflective, and facing new challenges that are impossible to ignore. Hank has always carried the weight of a legacy no one else on earth could truly understand, being the son of the legendary Hank Williams, whose tragic death left behind a myth so big it overshadowed the child he left behind. Hank Jr. was pushed onto stage at an age when most kids were still playing in the backyard. He was expected to sound like his father, look like his father, and keep a legacy alive that was built long before he was old enough to comprehend it. For years, he lived in the shadow of a man he barely knew, while the world demanded perfection. It was a burden that would have crushed most people, and nearly did. One of the darkest chapters of his life, the near-fatal fall from Ajax Mountain in 1975, reshaped his entire existence. After tumbling hundreds of feet and suffering catastrophic injuries, doctors weren't sure he would ever walk again, let alone perform. But Hank Jr. refused to quit. He fought his way back, both physically and artistically, and emerged with a new identity. The bearded, sunglasses-wearing outlaw who refused to let anyone dictate who he should be. That rebirth turned him into a superstar, but it also hardened him, leaving scars, both visible and emotional, that he carries to this day. But even that pain pales in comparison to the tragedies that struck later in life, including the devastating loss of his beloved daughter, Katie Williams Dunning, in a horrific accident. It was a heartbreak that shattered him in ways he never speaks about publicly. Friends say it left a wound he will carry forever, a grief that runs deeper than anything he experienced before. As today's headlines break, this part of his story is resurfacing, reminding fans of the fragile humanity behind the legend. Recently, new reports suggest that Hank Williams Jr. has been dealing with growing health concerns and unexpected personal challenges that have caused him to step back from certain public appearances. While no official statement has explained everything, those close to him say he has become more private, more selective, and more determined to protect what matters most: family, his legacy, and the limited time he is left to spend the way he chooses. Fans have noticed a change too. Fewer concerts, fewer interviews, and a quieter presence overall. It has sparked concern, speculation, and a wave of emotional reactions from fans who have followed him for decades. At 75, Hank Jr. is facing the same unforgiving reality that every legend eventually encounters: the slowing of time, the weight of the past, and the fragile nature of the future. What makes today's headlines so heartbreaking is not just the uncertainty surrounding his health, but also the raw truth that a man who has spent his entire life fighting is now entering a chapter where even he cannot outmuscle time. Whether this marks a turning point in his career or simply a moment of needed rest remains unclear. But one thing is certain: Hank Williams Jr. has lived a life filled with triumph, tragedy, and resilience, and the headlines breaking today are a reminder that behind the legend is a man who has endured more than most could ever imagine. Whatever comes next, fans everywhere are holding their breath, because the story of Bocephus is far from over, even as it enters its most emotional chapter yet.